Hello and welcome to my latest video on my retired playlist. So we are back at heavyweight, okay, and the fighter being added is the great Australian heavyweight Peter Jackson. So let us go to his main opponents. So Peter Jackson starts out on his list here with a win over George Godfrey. This is not the Leaperville Shadow, this is Old Chocolate George Godfrey, former coloured heavyweight champion. Peter Jackson scores a win. He fights and loses to James J. Jeffries, and then also fights a draw, fighting over 60 plus rounds against James J. Corbett. How annoying that must be for a fight to go that long and then no winner be declared. Next up is Irish puncher Peter Maher. Okay, Peter Jackson defeats him. He was a former pound for pounder in his time in my rankings, and he also fights a draw to another former pound for pounder, another good puncher like Peter Maher, Joe Goddard. Next up is heavyweight contender Frank Slavin. Okay, Peter Jackson defeats him, and he has an 8-fight series with heavyweight Mick Dooley. Okay, Peter Jackson scores 3 wins with no losses and 5 draws. He then fights Steve O'Donnell in a singular fight, scoring a win. And he has a 4-fight series, Peter Jackson, with Martin Costello. He fails to win any of them. Costello is definitely one of his bogeymen. He fought him 4 times, couldn't beat him. He scored no wins with 1 loss and 3 draws. And Peter Jackson defeated Joe McAuliffe in a singular fight. He also defeated Jack Fallon. Heavyweight contender Denver Ed Smith is next. Okay, Peter Jackson also defeated him in a singular fight. And the final name on here is heavyweight contender Jim Jeffords, who Peter Jackson lost to. So there's 23 fights highlighted there. Peter Jackson only lost 3 of them, okay? He scored 10 wins with 3 losses and 10 draws. So, on to the first slide covering his stats now. Peter Jackson scored 30 knockouts overall in his career. 23 of those knockouts were inside 3 rounds or less, and 6 were in the first round. Now, Jackson, okay, scored 1 KO stoppage over a champion. He scored 0 against Hall of Famers, and he scored 2 against pound-for-pound fighters. And Peter Jackson scored 0 KOs over rated fighters, being a pre-rating era fighter. Now, in terms of professional round experience, Peter Jackson fought 400 career rounds. He fought 19 title fight rounds, and Peter Jackson also fought 83 rounds against champions. He fought 64 rounds against Hall of Famers and a total of 85 rounds against pound-for-pound fighters. Now, as pointed out, pre-rating era fighter, he fought no rounds against top 10 fighters, top 3 fighters, or ring champions. So there's Peter Jackson's first stat slide. So on to the slide regarding champions. He had 3 fights against champions, splitting the record 1 win, 1 loss, 1 draw. The one champion he defeated individually was George Godfrey, who I mentioned before, and he did score inside the distance win, so he knocked out one champion individually. So from the champions, okay, not much there. On to the Hall of Famers. Now, Peter Jackson never held a win over a Hall of Famer. He had 2 fights against Hall of Famers, including no wins, 1 loss, 1 draw. So thus he defeated no individual Hall of Fame fighters and also scored knockouts over 0 Hall of Fame fighters individually. So at Champions Hall of Famers down, time for pound-for-pounders. Peter Jackson had 5 fights against pound-for-pound fighters, scoring 2 wins with 1 loss and 2 draws. He defeated 2 individual pound-for-pound fighters. They were punchers, both of them, Peter Maher and Frank Slavin, and he also stopped both of those inside distance. So he beat 2 pound-for-pounders and scored knockouts over those 2 pound-for-pounders, Peter Maher and Frank Slavin. So on to record against rated opponents. Now, as I've said, pre-rating era fighter, so Peter Jackson has no fights against top 10 fighters, top 3 fighters, or ring champions. Thus, he also defeated 0 rated fighters and also scored knockouts over 0 rated fighters. And when we go on to his title fight record slide, Peter Jackson had 1 title fight, okay, he has a record of 1 win, no loss, no draws. He did not make any title defences of that title, but he did win it inside the distance, so he's got 1 title fight KO. Now, Peter Jackson has no wins against top 10 fighters, top 3 fighters, or ring champions in title fights. He scored 1 win against a champion in that title fight, but 0 wins against Hall of Famers and pound-for-pounders. So going on to the final slide, again, not a big video because not as much information on it. Okay, Peter Jackson captured the coloured heavyweight title. Now, due to colour line, he was never regarded as a lineal champion, nor did Peter Jackson hold an undisputed title. So again, a shorter video, even though a major fighter from his time, a very skilled heavyweight, people marvelled at him. Not only his demeanour and how he held himself, but his lean physique. He was very muscular, but more lean muscular, not a big over huge muscular. His muscles were lean and slender, but very strong. And I can't remember which city he was in. He was fighting an exhibition near to this bridge. And what he was doing, he'd put on a show, so as the opponent came into him, he would turn him on the ropes. He'd move back to the ropes, and when the opponent came in, tried to deliver a shot, he'd just turn him on ropes and then slam him with long straight lefts or rights, putting on a show for the crowd. An excellent fighter for his time, former coloured heavyweight champion, one of the many great fighters on those early coloured heavyweight title lists. And he was very how can I put it? He was very photogenic for his time. People wanted to draw him. He looked like he was shaped from marble. He had a great physique. He was great with his pose and his physique, and you had artists wanting to draw him and things like that. So yeah, major figure, in early boxing history. There's Peter Jackson. He'll join my heavyweight playlist. I will be back tomorrow, with another career video, and I will catch you on that one. So I am the Boxing Librarian, and I'm out for now.